Hello and welcome to this bunny flow. This flow is going to make you sweat. It is hot, it is fun, it is a very playful one. So come and join me. We're going to breathe, we're going to be flowing, and we're also going to be sweating. Let's do this. So we're going to start in a child's pose today. So find your knees and take them apart so they're at the same distance as your mat. If you don't have a mat, just take them about 50 centimeters wide and then walk the hands forward. Let's just stretch for the first few moments. So if you want to, you can stretch the arms nice and long. Otherwise, there's always an option to take the fists underneath the forehead. We're just allowing the hips to open. There'll be quite a bit of hip opening today in our flow. So we want to just make sure that they have this time to start to open. A few more breaths here. Thinking of taking that breath all the way down into the buttocks so you expand into the back body. And then from here, we'll make our way into our first down facing dog. So you're gonna have the fingertips, the little pinky fingertips on the edge of your mat, all 10 fingers flat. Lift the hips high to the sky and straight away start to bring some movement. Pedal out the feet so you can bend the knees. Do whatever feels good for you in this first down facing dog. You can even bend the elbows. You can let the head release, shake side to side. Sway side to side, just inviting movement and energy into the body. And then from here, look forward to the top of your mat, come to the top, take your feet hip width distance apart and roll vertebra by vertebra all the way to standing. Great, so just to show you at the beginning of this flow, we'll start with the feet underneath the hips, and from there simply rotate the feet about 45 degrees. This is going to be our initial stance for this beginning part. So you have your feet hip width distance apart. You're simply going to open out about 45 degrees. Beautiful. So I'll go back to the top of my mat now. From here, with just that open 45 degrees feet, I'm going to inhale the arms up high. As I exhale, I'll bend the knees, drop the hips down as low as I can. That's it. And then push off the feet, press all the way back up to standing. Inhale. Same thing, exhale. Think of dropping and lengthening the tailbone down. Chest is trying to lift. And then inhale, press back up. You'll use the feet. Exhale, come down. 3 more like this in your own breath. Inhaling to press up. Exhale, think of lengthening the tailbone down. It can't completely go straight. We're just dropping down into a yogi squat. 1 more of these. And the next time you find yourself down, just pause for a moment. Now, if you've got tight calves, you might actually be up on the balls of the feet a little bit with the heels lifting. There goes Cobber. And if you've got the heels flat, that's also an option. And then bring the hands to the heart center. So my calves are quite tight today. I want to actually think about lengthening my spine more than dropping those heels back. So lengthen the spine now. Use your elbows to press into those heels and then into the knees, I should say, and then have your heels really heavy. That's it. Few breaths here. It might be quite an intense feeling, especially early in the morning, but just stick with it for a few more breaths. Then from here, expand your hands open so that one arm goes down on the diagonal, the other one goes up high. I might just face forward to show this. So I'm pressing into this knee, opening up with the elbow, and that's giving me an increased stretch in the inner thighs there. And then I'm going to come back to my prayer position and then open and expand the other way. So I press this elbow into that knee. And we'll flow it for a few times. So we'll inhale, expand over to one side. Exhale, come back to seat. Inhale, expand over to one side. Exhale, back to the center. Few more in your own breath. Really press that heel into the knee, not the heel, elbow into the knee. Oh my gosh, it's too early for me. Elbow into the knee. Don't worry too much about the heels. They can be lifted, they can be dropped, whatever feels right. I know it's intense. Stick with me for one more breath each side. You can make this as graceful as you'd like so that the arms maybe unfold, or you can make it really strong. It's up to you. Okay, I'll come back to the top of my mat here. From here, rotate the toes back to parallel, bend the knees, roll all the way up to standing. So now we're going to start to flow that a little bit. So rotate the feet back to the 45-degree position. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, sink the hips down. Open and expand on the inhale. Exhale back to the heart space. Open, expand to the opposite side. Exhale back to center. Flip the toes back and forward. Roll up to inhale up. Exhale, hands, heart space. Rotate the feet out. Inhale to come up. Sink the hips down as you float down. Exhale. Expand and open on the diagonal. Inhale. Exhale back to the heart space. Inhale and expand on that diagonal. Exhale back to the heart space. Flip the toes back to parallel. Inhale, breathe up. Exhale. We got this flow. Let's try it a few more times. Inhale, rotate the feet outwards. Exhale, sink the hips down low. Expand on the inhale. Exhale back to the heart space. Expand to the opposite side. Exhale back, flip the toes back to parallel. Inhale to breathe up. Last one of these, rotate the feet out 45 degrees. Inhale, I'll let you just take this one on your own. Let the length of your breath dictate how long the movement takes. Flip the toes forward, press up to standing. And then one more to come down. So we're going to meet back down in that yogi squat. So inhale, rotating the feet. Come down to your yogi squat. A little bit more of a flow from here. On our inhale now, we're going to expand the arms open. You're actually going to lift a little bit out of this. So my heels and my hips come a little bit high. Exhale, contract and down. Inhale, expand the heart open, lift. Exhale down. So I'm starting to energize and engage my legs. Inhale, open the heart space towards the front of the mat. Exhale, contract, belly draws into the spine. 3 more like this. Inhale, opening, lifting the hips a bit higher. Exhale, contract. That's it. 2 more. Belly draws in. Last one. Flip the toes to face forward, roll all the way up to standing, reach the arms above the head. Exhale, bring the hands to the heart space. Okay, let's start to take a normal sun salutation now that we've warmed up the hips and the spine a little bit. So inhale, breathe the arms up overhead. Exhale, hinge at the hips, come all the way forward. Inhale, fingertips down, halfway lift, so lengthening the spine. And let's step back to our first plank today. So option 1, drop the knees down. Option 2, knees off. Hold for a few breaths here. So I'm thinking of pressing all 10 fingers down into the mat. Back of the heart space lifts up. Squeeze those inner thighs together. Take the heart space forward, and then at the same time press into the heels. So I've got every single part of my body engaging, except for my head and neck. Let them be free. Then from here, let's lower down to the mat. Take a little bit of a spinal stretch here. I like to take my fingertips a little bit wider than the mat, elbows nice and high as I take my baby cobra. So I inhale, lift up and lengthen. Exhale, soften down. Few more like this. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Draw the belly in towards the spine to help protect it. 3 more. Inhale to lift up. Exhale down. Shoulders are back and down, just going through this flow. Then bring the hands beside underneath the shoulders. Tuck the toes, press back to down facing dog. Pedal out the feet as much as you need to here. Plant the hands firmly and then press the chest back. Great. So from here, let's float one leg up to the sky, and straight away we're going to open it and bend the knee. That's it. So I'm allowing you to completely stack the hips on top of each other. There's no squaring right now, but then try and square the shoulders. So we're not completely opening up. We're trying to square to the front, so we've got a bit of a twist in the spine as well. One more breath here. Then draw that knee in between the arms towards your nose. Scoop it back up to the sky and then float it down. Try the other side. Float one leg up, you can bend it and stack straight away. That's it. So I'm squaring off my shoulders, but then I'm stacking my hips so I can open into the front of that hip. Then from here, draw that knee to nose. Lift it high to the sky again and lower it down. Good. From here, look to the top of your mat, walk to the top of your mat. Inhale for halfway. Exhale, soften down, press all the way down to come all the way up. Exhale, hands to the heart space. Ooh. Okay. So, from here, let's flow that again. So starting from the top, inhale, breathe up. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift as you inhale. This way, step back again to your high plank. Choose which version you're going to go. Okay, either knees down or knees off. And this time you can either go all the way down to bring the chest down, take the baby cobra we just did, or come, the second option, a little bit harder, chaturanga, flip the toes, lift up to upward facing dog, then press back to down facing dog. Good, let's step one foot forward into a low lunge. Okay, keep the back knee off, even if you need to bring it in to make it a bit gentler. Otherwise, extend out through that back heel. From here, inhale the arms up overhead. Good, hold for a few breaths. Rather than having this super straight leg at the back, I want you to think of bending into the back knee a little bit so that you're dropping the hip down, lifting the pubic bone up. That's going to increase the hip flexor stretch here, but it's also going to make sure nothing goes into the lower back. So I've got my hands above the head, reaching up towards the sky, energy surging out through that back heel, lengthening the tailbone down, drawing the pubic bone up. Good. From here, rotate to the side, take your feet about 45 degrees apart, hands to the heart space, goddess. So you choose the intensity here today. If you need to make this gentler, simply lift the hips higher. If you need to make it stronger, get it level with the knees. Okay? Just make sure though that your knees are constantly pressing towards the back of the room. As soon as they come forward, you're going to compromise your ankles, you're going to compromise the knees. No good. Okay? Cool. 2 more breaths here. See if I talk a lot, you don't even notice we're here. And then switch to the back of your mat. So the lunge you haven't done, same thing, sweep the arms up overhead, drop the tailbone by dropping and bending that back knee, and lift the pubic bone. A few breaths here. And then come back to center, flip the toes about 45 degrees, drop the hips nice and low or gentle, your choice. Sometimes I find that pressing the hands together also helps here. If you're trembling in the legs, you can start to bring it into the arms. It's a bit of those mind over matter things. Good. Come back to the front of your mat, back into that lunge. Lift the arms up towards the sky. Plant the hands either side of the foot, and just for this first moment, take this foot to the outer edge of your mat so both hands will be inside of the mat. And then you can either lower the back knee down or keep it off. And then you can also stay with the hands like this, or if you want to increase this hip stretch, take elbow, elbow down. Okay? If you're keeping that back knee off, press energy out through the heel, and whichever version you're in, take the chest forward. Cool. We're here for 3 more breaths, just opening into that hip. Then replant the hands if they were down. Bring that foot back in so hands are either side of it now. And you can either press back to down facing dog straight away or come through a vinyasa, a high to low plank or down to the ground, either baby cobra or up facing dog, and then press back down facing dog. Good. Okay, step the other leg forward that you haven't done first. Oh, no, for me that's the other one. Okay, just check it's not the leg you did first. And then from here, inhale up. Let's pause for a few breaths, dropping the tailbone down, lifting the pubic bone up, reaching and extending up through the sky. Shoulders are back and down. They have a tendency to want to join in. Bring them down. Then flip the toes to the back. You're going to get a good view of my booty here. Sorry about that. And drop the hips down. Goddess pose. Sink the hips to the level you want to work at today. And then flip to the back of your mat. So now you're facing towards the back. In a lunge, dropping that tailbone, lifting the pubic bone. Hands can be up above the head. Shoulders are back and down. You got this. Flip back to your goddess pose just for a few breaths. Yep, you're going to start to feel this in the legs. Flip back to the front of your mat, so back to that initial one. Then bring each hand down either side of the foot. Now we want to stretch out this side as well. So take the foot out to the edge of the mat. Hands are going to come in between the, on the inside of the foot. Now, either keep the hands here, or if you want an extra stretch, drop the elbows down. Whichever version you do, chest is leading and pressing towards the front of your mat. Good. Three more breaths here. Keep hugging both legs towards each other so this one doesn't flop out to the side. We want to keep it strong. And then coming back, either down facing dog or coming through a Vinyasa Flow. Your choice, Yogi's choice. Tune in with the body. We've got a bit to go, so check in with your energy levels. Great. So now we're going to start to flow this with just one breath. So take your first leg forward to the top of your mat. Inhale to breathe up. Exhale, flip to the side of your mat, goddess pose. Inhale to the back of your mat, reaching up, Anjaneyasana. Exhale back to the side of the mat. Inhale back to the front of the mat. And then exhale, find your flow or simply press back to down facing dog. Your choice. We'll meet in down facing dog, ready to go the second side. So now take the second leg forward. Inhale to come up. Exhale, find your goddess pose. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, back to goddess pose. Inhale, back to the front of the mat. And then maybe taking a high to low plank or simply pressing back to down facing dog. Your choice. Good, let's do that one more time. So first leg forward, inhale to come up. Don't worry if there's wobbles, it's bound to happen. But then start to make this as graceful and as flowing as you possibly can. Back to the center, to the front. Find your high to low plank or simply press back to down facing dog as your transition. We meet in down facing dog, ready for the second side. Step your second leg forward. Reach up towards the sky. Flip to the side of the mat. Flip to the back of the mat. Flip to the side of the mat. Flip to the front of the mat. Find your down facing dog or vinyasa transition. Pressing back. Beautiful. Take a few breaths here or simply drop the knees to take a few rests in child's pose. Whichever option suits you best. No judgment here. Do what's best for you. Okay, if you're having a rest in child's pose, come join us up in down facing dog and step your first foot forward. We're going to do a few little hop switches here. So we want to make sure that the power is in our hands. So we're here, we're going to just switch to the other side. Okay, now this might mean that your lunges become a bit shorter, but I want you to stick and commit to 10 switches like this. So press into the mat, you lift the back of the heart space, that enables you to switch. Keep breathing naturally for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, doesn't matter if you're not in time with me, 4, you can go slower, you can go faster, 1, step back down facing dog, and we're going to take another set. So if you need to just chill out in a child's pose for the moment, completely fine. And when you're ready, let's meet in down facing dog. Take the opposite leg forward now. It doesn't really matter because we're going to do 10 regardless. Ready for it? 10 hop switches. 1, 2, 3. Push the hands down. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Press back to down facing dog or drop the knees down to child's pose. And then tuck the toes under. Let's meet in down facing dog. Step your first leg forward that we were taking forward before. Inhale up. Let's go through the flow. Exhale to the side. Inhale to the back of the room. Exhale to the side. Inhale to the front of the room. Exhale, bring the hands down. Hop, switch the legs. Then from here, press back to down facing dog. Don't rest for the moment. I want you to lift your hips high and then bend the knees, pounce forward towards the top of your hands. We're going to do a few of those, so you can either jump back to your down facing dog, or if it's gentler for you, walk the feet back. Look forward to the mat, lift the heels high, bend the knees, jump forward, jump back. Lift the heels, bend the knees, jump forward, jump back. 3 more of these. Inhale up, exhale, bend, jumping forward. Inhale to come back, exhale, stay. Inhale, lift, exhale, bend, jump forward. Inhale, back, exhale, stay. 1 more. Inhale, lift the heels, exhale, bend, jump forward, jump back. Press into down facing dog or drop the knees down. So we can see we're coming into the cardio component of the class. Don't stress too much. We've only got a few more progressions to do that will lift the heart rate, and we'll finish with a beautiful cool down at the end. Okay. From here, let's lift the hips back into down facing dog. Wonderful. So now step the second leg forward. Let's go through our progression. Inhale to come up. Exhale, flip to the side. Inhale to the back of the room. Exhale, flip to the side. Side. Inhale forward. Exhale, bring the hands down. 1 hop switch. Switch the legs. Press back to down facing dog. Straight away into our forward jumps and back. You'll lift the hips as you inhale. Exhale, bend the knees and jump. Inhale to jump back. Exhale to stay. Few more like this. Do it in your own timing now. Have a little play. Just make it playful. You can start to bring the hips a little bit higher each time you jump forward. You can just make this gentle if you want to come forward by stepping and stepping back. Okay, 1 more in your own time. Whoop. And back. Great. Okay, From here, step the first foot forward. Inhale to lift up. Exhale to flip to the side. Inhale, flip to the back. Exhale, flip to the side. Inhale to the top of the mat. Exhale, hands down. Do a little switch hop, step back. Good. Inhale, lift the hips up. Exhale, bend. This time as you come forward, try and land on the outside of your hands. So I actually come off the mat slightly, okay? Try that again. I'm here. I inhale, lift the heels. I exhale, bend the knees. And I'm going to jump out so that my feet are 45 degrees out on the outside edge of my mat. From here, we're going to do a beautiful, graceful version of yogi burpees. I don't know if they exist. I could be making them up. We're going to do it. So your first option is to simply lift the hands up to the sky. Or if you feel a bit sprightly today, you're going to spring in towards the sky from here. So you'll inhale up and then exhale, press back. That can either be to down facing dog or take a vinyasa. Come through, press back. Okay, let's try that again. Inhale, lift the hips high. Exhale, bend the knees, jump wide. So I'm on the outside. Now, either standing or jumping, inhale up, come down. Either step back to down facing dog or find your high to low plank. Your choice, okay? One more on this side. Inhale the hips high. Exhale, bend, hop wide, hop up, down, find your flow. You will be fatiguing, but don't worry, we're coming to a down facing dog here as a little rest. So this is rest option 1, rest option 2, child's pose. 3 breaths here. Yep, the heart rate is getting up. Oh, and I'm getting eaten by mosquitoes. I can't believe how many there are. Okay, enough distraction. Let's lift the hips high. Second side. I know you're like, didn't we do that? We did, but this is the next round. So step the second leg forward. Inhale, scoot up. Exhale to the back. Inhale to the side. Exhale, oh, this is the side. Inhale back to the front. And then exhale, either step back to down facing dog. Oh, no, sorry. Switch hop. Then you get to press back to down facing dog or come through a vinyasa, your choice. Once we're all in down facing dog, we inhale, lift the hips high. Exhale, bend, open wide. Inhale, hop, down, find your flow. Meeting in down facing dog. 2 more like this in your own breath, lifting the hips high. Exhale, down, jump. Inhale, find your high to low plank. You got 1 more in you. Let's do this. Stick with it for the last one. Down facing dog or resting in child's pose. Yogi's choice. Good. Now, I believe we have 1 more in us, and I promise this will be the last one. We'll do 1 each side. So that's the flow with the lunges, the goddess pose, with a hip squat, a hip switch. Now I've lost what it is. A hop switch. Then we press back to down facing dog or go through vinyasa. 3 jumping forward, yogi burpee, graceful style ones. And then we'll do the other side. Then a nice cool down. So stick with me. This is the last part of this bunny yoga flow. Here we go. Lift the hips if you're not in down facing dog. Step your first leg forward. Make this as graceful as you can. The transitions, inhaling up. Exhale, flip to the side. Inhale up. Exhale, flip to the side. Inhale up. Exhale, hands come down. Hop switch. Then find either a vinyasa or down facing dog. Your choice. Whew. From here, you've got 3, lifting the heels, jumping forward and wide, burpee styles. I'm not going to say much. I'm just going to let you do your thing. If you need to rest and that's where you're at, that's where you're at. Oh. You've got 1 more on this side. Keep breathing. That is going to be key to making sure there's energy to sustain you. 3 breaths here. Either down facing dog or child's pose. Whew. Last side, you've got this, I believe in you, let's do it. Step the second side forward, nice and graceful as we transition up. And then exhale to the side. Inhale to the back. Exhale to the side. Inhale to the front. Exhale, hands down, find a little hop switch. Find your vinyasa or step back to down facing dog. Once you're in down facing dog, 3 final burpees. Inhale, lifting. I'll do it without much noise so you can choose how fast, slow you go. You've got about 1 more here. See if you can commit to the final one. Down facing dog or child's pose. Your choice. Few breaths here. If you are in child's pose, then slowly lift back to down facing dog. Good. Bring your feet a little bit closer, but nice and wide. And we're just going to do a bit of a playful, it's like little bunny hops into handstand until you might find that nice tipping point where your hips get just above your shoulders and your wrists. So you might have that moment of just hanging there. Go for about 10. It doesn't matter, even if you're just here and you'd barely even leave the ground, it's going to help you towards that journey to finding balance. So have a little play. As you fatigue, it will become a little bit harder, so take the pressure off, maybe to sit in your yogi squat for a moment. The yogi squat that we did at the beginning of the class. Whew. And last few, nice and wide with the legs. Push the mat away. And when you are done, true child's pose now for a few breaths. And then gently bringing your hands up. Come onto your mat. Let's take a beautiful butterfly. So you can either choose to have the heels really close in towards the pelvis, or you can move it away so it's more like a diagonal position. Your choice. You can stay upright, lifting the chest up towards the sky, supported by the hands, or forward fold. We've done a lot of hip opening, so this should feel pretty juicy, but the adductors have been working as well, so they need that little stretch out. Hands can be forward, they can be around the foot, elbows can be pressing down, whatever feels best for you. I just ask that whichever version you do, allow the head, neck and shoulders to be uninvolved. Because once we have tension in and around here, it's very hard for the rest of our body, especially our hips, to surrender, which is what we're essentially doing here. Surrendering, letting this practice go, and dropping those knees towards the earth. Last breath here. Come all the way up to seated. Let's continue with that adductor idea. Take the legs out wide so I've got a nice angle, kind of triangle with the legs If you're more blessed with turnout, you might be at 180 degrees. I don't know. This is where I am today. Same idea, hands behind, either lifting the chest or forward folding. You can either keep this really active by having the toes up towards the sky, so I'm flexing into the back of the heel, or you can be really floppy and actually even allow the hips to internally rotate forward. That's it. Just stretching out for the last few moments here. And last breath here, come all the way up to seated. Let's work into the glutes a little bit. So first option is to have the feet just like folded like you would at school. Second option, heel on top. And that's already going to be quite intense for some of us. And then if you need an extended option, you can move into Gomukhasana, where you stack those knees on top of each other. Same option for all three, whichever one you're going for. Hands can be behind, lifting the heart space up towards the sky, or a forward fold might ensue. Whatever feels best for you. Next few breaths, release the head and neck. Stay committed to these stretches. Your body will love you for this tomorrow, I promise. Last breath here, pressing up. Whichever leg you've got on top, whichever version, switch it over. So you've got the cross-legged seat, you've got one leg on top of the other, and then you've got Gomukhasana with the knees stacked on top of each other. Upright, forward fold, Yogi's choice. Release the head and neck, breathe into your buttocks. I promise that helps expand space. Last breath here, pressing up to seated. Okay, final stretch before we do a beautiful Shavasana to end this. So, coming into a 3/4 sit. So I've got one leg in front of me, the other leg behind. Hands go back and support me. Now I'm trying to stretch into the hip flexor and the front of the leg, the top of the leg into the quad. So if I press back and I'm feeling that quite intensely, that's where I want to stay. If I need to intensify, I'll drop the elbows back. And if I want to intensify even further, go all the way back, so taking the arms back. However, if you feel any discomfort in your knee joint, back off, because you do not want to be stretching into the knee joint. You purely want to be stretching into the front of the hip flexor and into the front of the quad. So really be gentle with yourself there. Okay, few breaths here, stretching out the front of those hips. I actually like to think of breathing all the way down into my knee so that I feel like I'm expanding more space into the front body. Last breath here, then use your hands to support you to come up. And let's switch the legs over, so whichever was in front, switch it behind. And just check in with this side. We're very asymmetrical beings. You might not be in the same place, so just tune into that, don't force it. You've got the hip pressing forward, you've got the elbows down, or you can go the full way down if that feels comfortable. Just ensuring this doesn't go into the knee joint. Last breath here. Come all the way up and make your way onto your back. Now, some people often leave for Shavasana, which is our corpse pose, but I really invite you, especially if you have the time, if you have nowhere to go, which is a lot of us, to gift yourself this, okay? So lying down on the back. If there's any other posture you want to take before entering into Shavasana, we'll only be here for a few moments, so just releasing. And this posture has nothing to do. This posture is all about existing in time and space, so just allow yourself to be. I'll be quiet for the next few moments and I'll awaken us from this shortly. And if you do have time to stay here a little longer, I invite you to just listen and stay still. If not, start to invite some energy into the fingers and toes. Stretch the arms and legs away from each other. And then hug the knees into the chest. Roll over to one side. Final moment to let go of any of your cares and worries. Leave them behind as you press up to seated. Thank you so much for practicing with me. It was a bit of a sweaty journey, I know. Have a wonderful day and remember to play. Yoga doesn't always have to be so serious, so bring into a bit of that bunny flow into your daily life. Thanks a lot. See ya.